All right, y'all, welcome back. This is episode 76 of Let Me Finish. I'm your host, Jillian.
I'm Janice.
We are down one host. Poor Michael. He has the flu this week, so he won't be joining us this week. So we're going to try and try and carry on and power through this week. We're just going to dive right in.
Yeah.
Well, as we all know, our episode for last week dropped the day after the election. It, of course, was not the results we wanted.
Not at all.
Yeah,
no, I'm a little, I will say, I was surprised. I was surprised in the sense that it just felt like she was going to win, but, America surprised me before.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised. Disappointed, absolutely. Surprised, no. I think this is, once again, America has shown us exactly who it is. And
what they value.
I've learned that lesson a long time ago. And in fact, if she had won, that's when I would have been surprised.
I mean, I just, how I look at it is like, there's just been, in 2016, we didn't know for sure what we were going to get. Mm-hmm. So there was a chance for optimism. Or, hey, let's see what he can do. Hey, maybe something different will be better. Mm-hmm. And now it's just like, oh, okay. So literally nothing that he's done, said, been a part of, been charged for, been convicted for, said, incited, nothing, none of that matters. Mm-mm. And it's sadly, I hate to say it, but I think it's just because America just could not deal with having a woman of color as president. It was just like, out of those two options, it was just like a hell no, that can't happen. Mm-hmm. So that's how it felt. So,
I mean, honestly,
Black women, we showed up. Good for y'all. Woo.
Yeah, we did 92%. But I also think that it's an insight on unfortunately, the fact that this man who has been proven to be a liar, he sexually assaulted women, who has shown his racist tendencies, his sexism.
He incited a riot.
Somebody who has very little disregard for law and order. It shows that his lack of morals wasn't a deal breaker for a lot of people, for a lot of the country. And that's I think that's what's the most disappointing, that unfortunately I think America can no longer espouse to be the morally superior to anyone.
I'm sorry. When did America aspire to do that?
I think America did walk around with that era of moral superiority. They literally
just gave women the right to divorce in in the 80s. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean,
they've been giving women rights up until God, there was a shirt I was like, I don't understand how. Yeah. Even if that's what they say, that's clearly not what's been done. So that doesn't matter what you think. I think. And in 1994, women gained the legal protection against domestic abuse in 1994. So no, they never had a moral high ground.
I'm not saying that it was rightfully claimed to be morally right. So when they talk about the religious, strict religious practices, of people like in the Middle East, you can't admonish them for how they practice and what they do and the laws they pass when we are doing the same exact things.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, this election didn't show anything new. So
no, it didn't.
1988, women could own their own business without a man. So up until 1998, a woman could not go own their own business. So no. So as far as that goes, I mean, even if that's how they like to come off or what people would claim, that's obviously has not ever been the case. So I'm not.
I'm just saying, now you can't. Now there's no hiding it. There was never
hiding it. What are you looking at me for? There was never hiding it.
What I'm saying is that they can fool themselves into thinking they were more morally superior than others.
So my question to you is, so how do you feel like they could fool themselves before and they don't think they'll still fool themselves now?
I'm just saying.
So this was the deal. This was like the real catalyst.
Well, at this point with electing Trump, when you're admonishing people for you feel have a moral failing or this, that, and the third, what about this, da 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 da, you can be like, well, you did it. You got Trump. You can't talk about our world leader, our prime minister, our president, our supreme leader, whoever. You got Trump, and you put him in there not once but twice. Boom, you can't say shit.
Yeah.
You can't. You honestly, it's the literally Trump is the Trump card.
This was the ultimate. This was the ultimate.
Trump
not
is the
slavery.
Trump is
Not
the Trump
slavery,
card.
not
be
civil rights.
Well, we had the civil rights and we gave them, Lincoln freed the slaves and da da da. Oh, we gave black people the right to vote in
during
1965.
that time, they had to have been doing it for it to be abolished. So again, I'm unsure
saying,
how all of a sudden you feel like those same people didn't have those same people who had rose-colored glasses.
What I'm saying what I'm saying is after World War II and United States, they feel like they came in as the heroes defeating the Nazis. There is this era where America was seen as the world's police. There were, America is doing it right.
No,
that somehow we're advances. No. Okay, all right.
I'm just saying no. They were never America's. They were never the world's police. How?
Yes, they were.
No, they weren't.
Yes, Janice.
Yes. So you believe they were?
Janice,
you believe they were?
That is exactly what was put on the United States after World War II. They were seen as the world's police because we had the nuclear option. What we said went. There's a reason why very few countries can. When you have a UN vote, there's only so many countries that can even veto.
So again,
votes out there. So you can have the majority of the world come to a consensus about a certain topic, but United States be like, you know what, no, and veto that and that particular,
So but okay, this went way off of what you said originally, which was they were on they felt like they were morally correct. Or morally straight before this, when all these immoral things were happening, but this was the final immoral break where they're going to realize what they actually did.
What I'm saying is that you can't. There's no pretending anymore.
They won't, and they still will pretend.
There is no pretending anymore.
They still will pretend.
For the rest of the world,
they've been seeing
the rest of the world, when it comes to America, they're seeing this as most prosperous, the promised land. I don't think anyone sees that as anymore. They've been talking
about us since 2016.
And that's
since we elected him the first time.
And I guess with Biden, there was some hope to kick some of that luster back, but I think now it's completely gone. I'm just saying, I know the whole idea of the American dream and
that's been gone.
Idea of America being the land of milk and honey, the optimism. I think it's officially dead. You can bury it and it's gone.
We went through a whole Great Depression, so yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. The fact that you actually think this is the turning point.
I'm not saying it's a turning point.
They're gonna realize what they're doing. Or they can no longer hide behind something. They'll always find something to hide behind. What I'm
saying is that
they'll always find something to hide behind.
Okay.
They will.
Okay. I mean, they can live under delusion.
They will. They have.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess
that's all I'm saying.
I guess I'm at the point where maybe don't care anymore.
Maybe other people who thought that they had some semblance of morals will maybe see the light, but it's going to be a few and far between.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is
America did this.
I don't care anymore
by quite a bit.
And what will happen is that unfortunately somebody said this on this is the only thing that gave me comfort was this is not our lesson to learn. Mm-hmm. For every person who voted for Trump and the policies, when the policies start going into effect, they're going to realize, this isn't.
We made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. And that's your lesson to learn.
It's a lesson to learn, but sadly, that lesson might not be one that they'll see change in their lifetime. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I with the
January 16th is going to be a day.
Yeah. So for
a lot of laws written in.
Yeah, for us. With the White House, you know, the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, that's all in Republican control. When things go wrong, there's only, you can't blame the Democrats for anything.
That's one thing I'll say. Like, it can't be like, we wanted to do this, but the Democrats stopped us. We wanted to do this, but they put a block. There's no blocks.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything y'all want to do, y'all have a chokehold on this country right now. So I guess we'll see where we're at in 4 years.
Yeah, we'll see where we're at in a year, 2 years when midterm elections come around. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And at this point, you can't blame anyone. Anything that happens, you can't blame Democrats for any of it.
Yeah, no. Everything is definitely a direct result of what the Republican Party is going to be doing. So.
Yeah. So we'll see what
what
happens.
Of that Republican Party is Donald J. Trump. So.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I guess the only warning I have, because Donald Trump can't run for re-election, so he doesn't care what happens.
Supposedly.
But for the other Republicans who hope to seek re-election in the next 4 years, I'm interested to see how they operate and how they move.
Do you actually think that he will truly be able to find or you don't think he's going to find a way to be able to stay in office? You think he'll try?
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, somebody said, like, okay, when he says that, like, he gets rid of the 2-term limit, it'd be 2028 gonna be Obama. I would love it. He's beautiful.
Oh, that's true.
That would be beautiful. But yeah.
Do you think you would want to even do any?
It depends on how convicted he felt to do something about what's going on. So I don't know.
Shit, at this point,
He's done his part. So
go ahead and bring back Clinton too. Bring back Obama. Bring them all back. I don't give a shit. Now.
You know what? I haven't seen Clinton in a long time. Who knows what that man doing?
He was campaigning.
He's taking a seat back to Hillary for sure.
Yeah, he's been campaigning. He was campaigning.
Oh, he was
for Harris. Yeah.
How's he looking? Old?
He thinner because he lost a lot of weight.
Okay,
but you know, same gray hair. You know, and
good old Clinton. Anyways, yeah. So that was just, we wanted to touch on that since we obviously talked about it last week, and you know, and the results came out after after the episode came out, or before
the results came out before the episode came out. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. Me personally, like I said, that I'm not going to for the next 4 years, I'm not going to let Donald Trump drain my energy. So me personally, notifications are getting turned off. Do you hear what Trump did? No, I didn't. Don't care.
I know. One of my friends said on his TikTok, he was like, oh man, he's so mean. Pretty much anything that bad that happens, if it's not affecting me, I don't care. Oh well. It's kind of how it's gonna have to be. Yeah. I mean, I did my part.
Yeah,
to make sure bad things like this, you know. So again, if things are directly affecting you based off of things that he's done, I don't care.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Well. Deportation. Oh well. Voted for it. Oh well.
Yeah.
Can't afford to keep your small business going because of tariffs. Oh well, it's your fault. Sorry. So it's just kind of what it is. It is what it is. You just keep it pushing, but it does seem like a little bit more daunting than the other elections I've been a part of in the past. So, because obviously he's not the first Republican that's won since I started voting. Well, I guess maybe he is.
He's the what?
The only Republican that's won since I've started voting. So, but maybe he is.
No, yeah, he's the only one because he started in 2008.
Yeah, so I guess so. So whatever, what it is. All right, so want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on. What'd you do this week?
So I did finish Outer Banks.
Girl, y'all, she was out here boo-hoo crying like he really lost a family member.
Spoiler alert, a main character dies. Oh God, it was so sad. I mean, I was boohoo crying. Julia's like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like, "I've been watching this show for 4 years, and I love this character." It was just, and to be fair, which I'm sure if anybody watches that's listening, you've seen all the spoilers out there. It's true. It's true. So it's just very upsetting. And I guess season 5, you know how long it takes Outer Banks to come out too. So they need to get revenge, and I need them to do it quickly. I need them, ASAP. They need to go kill this mother. Okay, that's all I got to say on that. Oh, and I also wanted to point out. So I know we talked about body image last week. So I saw some posts about Selena Gomez and some comments she made, and I just love that Selena Gomez has, because obviously she was a very tiny girl, when she was growing up, and her body changed, and she went through a lot of medical things as well. I think she had to have a kidney replaced, and she has lupus.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so she's had a lot of medical things, but you know, it does seem like she's a lot happier now. She's her boyfriend, I forget his name. But yeah, so she seems a lot happier, and she seems to fully have embraced her newer, fuller figure, and she looks beautiful. So I just wanted to point out, like, that's another celebrity that's like been battling people just making comments about her body and how her body's changed as she's gone from a child to an adult. So I just want to give kudos and shout out to Selena Gomez.
Yeah, awesome.
Good on you, Selena.
Yeah, and she's doing good acting wise too. So there's that.
Is she? She's very popular and I'm not quite sure for what. I just. People love her.
Yeah, because
I mean, she's not as much as I do. Like, she's sweet, but I'm like, she's not. I don't know. She's not. Her music's okay.
She hasn't done music in a while.
And when she was doing it, was okay. Her acting is okay.
I think she was nominated for an Emmy for Murders in the Building. So I've seen that show. She's actually decent in the show.
That's what I'm saying. She's not. There you go. Decent. That's my whole point. She's not like phenomenal.
Okay.
She's like, I don't know, but I think people just relate to her more because she's just obviously, again, there's nothing about her that just, oh my God, she's the most amazing actress or singer or, you know, philanthropist. Like, not like she's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Because she did Murders in the Building, which is on Hulu, and then she has some kind of cooking show.
I still think about Wizards of Waverly Place when I think about her.
She's done so much since then. You know, she has Rare Beauty. So
and when you're ready, come and get it. Na 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 na. That's what I think about when I think about her.
And then she's doing her mogul thing with Rare Beauty. So
I mean, she's definitely like she's a billionaire. Or getting close.
I don't know.
And she's also like the most followers on Instagram in the world. So I mean, like, that's what I'm saying, people love her.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about her that people love. I think it's just because she's so relatable.
Yeah. You just don't get it.
But the world doesn't get it. I don't know.
I mean, she's out here. She's working. So leave the girl alone.
I'm not trying to attack her. I'm really not. It
feels like you are a little bit.
No, I think she's great. I just don't.
It feels like you're accusing her of popularity that she didn't earn.
She did earn the popularity. I'm just not quite sure what people clung on to. She earned it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be, like I said, there's plenty of people out there and be like, I don't get the hype. I think,
but she's like extra popular. Like, that's what I'm saying. She's one of the most popular people in the world. One of the most recognizable names in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
But it wasn't like, I think she worked for that. Putting her name out there, putting herself out there.
What do you think put her on the map? Let's just ask you that then. What do you think really boosted her over? Honestly,
between her show, and I think honestly, Wizards, and then also I think everything with Justin Bieber.
Oh, you think so you think Justin is what catapulted her?
I mean, as far as I think her Disney career, the reach of Disney is far.
Yeah, but look how many people come from Disney. I mean, I guess
Miley Cyrus.
I mean, she's not nobody's as popular as Selena Gomez. Nobody.
Okay, Jonas Brothers.
Demi. I was gonna say Demi, Nick Jonas, and Raven Simone, and
there's been a lot of kids I've matriculated through the Disney.
Oh yeah, lots. I was gonna say one person in particular, I totally forgot.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, even Zach and Cody or whatever, they're really big. But again, nobody does it.
By the way,
Selena,
Zach and Cody are not their real names.
Dylan and
Dylan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? That's the reach that they have. If you start to morph into your actual characters, not the real person. I don't even remember her name that she had on Wizards of Waverly Place. That's the crazy part.
It was not Sam.
Yeah, see?
It was, what was her name?
There's just nothing. And that's why I'm saying, I'm not saying she didn't earn it. It's just, there's something about her. There's like an it quality to her that obviously people must cling to.
Uh-huh.
because she is so popular.
I guess.
I would say she's the most popular person to matriculate out of Disney.
Yeah.
Who else?
Like I said,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's the crazy part. And you're just like, And you go back and think about it. You're like, way more talented people came from Disney.
It's because it's not. I guess it's not. I'm a Nickelodeon kid, not necessarily a Disney kid.
Who's more popular that came out of Nickelodeon than her? Nobody. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm just saying. Kudos to Selena. Honey.
Honestly, because Selena's a child actor.
And
she was
sadly,
like,
it probably does have a lot to do with Justin Bieber. It probably really does.
it did, and then she parlayed that into other ventures, and for that, kudos. So I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna jump on the girl's back, so I choose not to.
I'm not jumping on her back. Okay. Whatever. I was actually giving the girl a compliment. That's how it all started. Because I was like,
it was a backhanded compliment, but okay.
the one about her body image.
No, the body image stuff was
That's
good.
why I
but,
said that's where it started from.
Yeah, but
And then it turned into this.
yeah, it was a little backhanded, but okay, do you, girl? Anyways,
You're such a shady bitch.
So I didn't have anything major this week. I'm actually going to be off when the episode drops. I'll be off this whole week from work, and I've been absolutely.
You're always off from work.
Shut up.
Jesus.
It's called PTO. I earned that
Golly.
shit.
You just had a week off.
I earned that shit.
What, in September?
So the beginning of the year, I didn't take any time off
Oh.
other than my, paid holidays.
How many hours do you get a year?
I get 4 weeks. So how was that?
Oh, okay.
160 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And
Good
then
for
I
them.
have because I work in banking, so I work banker's hours and I get all the holidays off.
Oh, man. So lucky. So you get another week off.
Another
so you're not
week.
working this coming week?
I've been off since Friday.
Oh. Look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been at work. So.
Yeah. So it's a good, so that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I have 10 days off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying it. So my mom's like, oh, I got a doctor's appointment. She went ahead and scheduled that. So for 3 of the days, I got to take her to a doctor's appointment. So I'm just like, damn. Taking up my time. But other than that, and then we went out to Eddie V's for Stacey's birthday.
Yeah, it was good. I
was
like
very
the
good.
Eddie
We
V's.
had a
I haven't
great-
been to Eddie V's in a very long time.
Had a great drinks. They were one thing is about Eddie V is that great customer service. They're very attentive to her for her birthday. So if anyone in the Dallas Fort Worth area, if you want if you're into seafood or steak, Eddie V's is a great. I think it leans more towards seafood. So if you're a seafood person, definitely go to. I think Janice had this like Parmesan Soleil, some kind of
Parmesan
sole, and then our mom had the salmon. Stacey had the lobster tacos and crab cakes. I actually had a steak,
Was
and
the steak good?
the steak was great.
Yeah, the crab cakes are really good.
Yeah. So I say if you're a big fan of seafood, I think it's Eddie V's. Like I said, great customer service. We had an amazing time. So check it out. And then happy birthday, Stacey.
Happy birthday, Stacey.
Yes. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back and dive into our main topic. All right, we are back. And so this week for our episode, we're going to talk about true crime. And what we've decided that is because there's been a resurgence of true crime documentaries and miniseries that have been going on lately, which I have been caught in that resurgence. It's been for the past couple years. I think there's been a lot of miniseries that I've seen come through. I think during 2020, there was that miniseries that we watched, Stacey put us on to, called Candy, about that lady who murdered her husband's
Oh, you know what? I never
mistress.
watched it, but yes.
Yeah.
I remember it.
So me and Stacey be like, oh my God, did she get away with it? Nah, da 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 da. We've had O.J. Simpson. There has been, reignited attention into O.J. Simpson. They turned that into a miniseries on, I can't, if it's FX or what, I don't know what channel it came on. So they had, it was actually starring Cuba Gooding Jr. was in that.
For what show? Oh, yeah.
About O.J. Simpson.
I didn't hear about that, yeah.
And then, of course, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. They had The Act, and plus her series, Mommy Dead and Dearest, or I can't remember the name of the...
Mommy Dearest or something. Either way.
Yeah.
So, and then, yeah, so actually, the crazy part is I'm not a huge true crime watcher. I'll watch the miniseries, because I did watch The Act. But I didn't watch like the Menendez brothers show on Netflix
huge right now.
Jeffrey Dahmer. They had that
was huge
remake of that show. I didn't watch that one either. But also I don't like scary shit, so but I did watch The Night Stalker on Netflix. Yes. That was pretty creepy. And then Worst Ex Ever on Netflix. It's like 4 episodes, but if y'all are like true crime and it's just like a show, and then every episode is a new kind of story. Mm-hmm. That was really good. They have Worst Ex Ever on Netflix, and they also have Worst Roommate Ever. Mm-hmm. Very, very good. Yeah. So I will give kudos to those.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk about that because there has been, like I said, with documentaries, miniseries, podcasts, and all that stuff, people talking about the true crime. How do you have balance where you're showing respect to the victims, telling their stories, and being truthful about that, and not feel like, because I don't know if I had a family member who was a victim of a crime, someone taking their story and using that to make money.
I thought you were saying we did. I was like, who?
No, I'm just saying if it happened to us, how would we feel about that? Do you think it's ethical, or because I do enjoy.
I mean, what do you mean to take that story for public consumption, for entertainment value?
For entertainment.
I mean, yeah,
I'm sure it's hard.
Ethical, and I think mostly how I would feel about it is if it could get the story out to potentially save somebody else. Yeah. Because like even on the Worst Ex Ever, like even just little signs that you might see, and a lot of times it's the people. Sometimes it's not always the victim, but it's like the people that went through it rehashing their story.
Sometimes, because I feel like, because right now it's the Menendez brothers who their story is being retold again. And it's interesting seeing with the documentary and then also with the miniseries that it's on Netflix as well.
But their trial's getting reopened.
Not reopened. I think what they have, the district attorney has recommended that they be up for parole. They'll be eligible for parole and recommend that they...
So I think that's a win.
Yeah, I think it's a win because there's a lot of...
The Act, I feel like more people were more sympathetic towards Gypsy Rose and heard her side of the story, as opposed to it being more so like, why did this woman kill her mother, and she's evil and that's it. OJ is very much entertainment value. I'm not saying that
it can't have positive effects, because you see with Netflix also did When They See Us with Ava DuVernay when they talk about the vindicated Central Park 5. So I'm not saying that their story was they never got their story fully told from their point of view as far as what they went through when that happened. So I think it was good to see it from because they were very involved. She made sure that their story was told as well. But then again, I think what also not saying that we shouldn't have focused on them, because these are 5 people whose lives were completely put off track due to these false allegations and eventual convictions or plea bargains that was put in place due to corrupt police and corrupt district attorney. But what's lost in all that is the fact that there was a woman who was assaulted whose justice was delayed. And the only reason she was actually able to get true justice is because her attacker felt bad for one of the people serving time for his crime, saying, damn, you're still in jail, and confessed and said, no, it was actually me. It wasn't these kids
Well,
who
what do you
did
mean?
this.
That was a part of the documentary.
It was a part of the
she had
documentary.
the
But just
delayed-
imagine, I would think she would feel some kind of guilt, because I'm sure in her mind,
You would
she
think,
felt
well, first of all, let's.
that they were guilty of attacking her
I don't think that's what she thought. Do you think
for
that's what
the
you think-
entire time that they were in jail.
Did she really think those were the ones who attacked her? Mm-hmm. So what are you saying?
remember,
What are you saying is the problem? Like the fact? What part
I
is
think, I think for her, her assault is being brought. I don't think I would want to think about that ever again. I think she's the. I mean, not saying that
feel
these
like
guys
at
aren't
this
victims,
point,
but
she's,
she gets lost in that
she's
is.
what's it? A bystander.
She's not a bystander.
She's collateral damage at this point. Her story, because there's also 5 other people's lives who were affected, just like hers was.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing. I don't think she should just be collateral damage. I think. No, I think she. I don't even think people really even think about her and what she went through, because it was to the point where you have these people.
Did she testify at it at all?
She did testify, but she
they did
told no, she couldn't, because she couldn't remember. She had retrograde amnesia, so she didn't remember anything from the attack.
Don't you think she would wanted her true person who did it to get justice?
But I'm just saying, with this being brought back up, it's almost like
it's a rehash
I don't
for the
even know-
boys too.
I don't even know. It's to the point where she is an afterthought. She's a footnote.
Every person that was a victim in that situation, sure, but every person that was a victim in that story was a victim, and it's a rehash for all of them.
I'm not saying that, but the difference is that while she was also a victim, she has become a footnote in the story.
Yeah,
and I think that's where I think that's unfair for her. And I feel
how do you
sad
feel
for her.
like she should? Okay, so what would be the right way to go about it?
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm not saying that I have a solution, and not that these victims, the convicted 5, the exonerated 5 shouldn't have this is a cautionary tale of what happens when you have overzealous police officers and district attorneys that innocent people do go to jail for crimes they didn't commit, even if they have confessed. So I feel like
again,
their story should be told, but I also feel like her story should have been in the forefront and not just a footnote.
Well, I think the main part of it, and I guess, but the biggest part of the story is the police and injustice, justice not being served for her and those 5 who were not involved.
Correct.
So, yeah, but that's the bigger story. That's the bigger. That's the bigger egregion.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess
it is. I mean, 5 people were convicted of something they did not do. A person who did it could potentially have gotten away.
He did, and did end up attacking someone else.
Right, but exactly. So at the end of the day, the story being told, I felt like is very important. And if I was that assault victim, I would want that story to be told.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
I personally would.
I'm just not saying that
because you were saying like how would we feel? I would feel that story should be told.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I wish she had an opportunity to express what happened to her, express her story, and have things
Did she not
through
do
her
that
lens. No, I mean the whole point of When They See Us was for the exonerated 5,
right? That's the point of that documentary. Yeah, there could have been another documentary about her,
and that's what I feel like we are lacking is her point of view, which we've never really gotten. I mean, she may not want to put that out there. She may not be dealing.
For me, it's like that's not what that documentary was about. It wasn't about sexual assault.
No,
it was about
police corruption and
correct
and unjust justice system. I guess I do see that. I just feel like we're looking at this, and I feel like sometimes some of the victims kind of get. For sensationalism,
damage, probably.
Yeah, they're seen as collateral damage because, like I said,
because it's for a bigger purpose. It's for a bigger outcome, a bigger eventual, fix. I mean, not really a fix, but to really shine light onto a huge problem.
I guess that now with a lot of people with these miniseries, you're talking about Dahmer, you're talking about Ted Bundy, Aaron Hernandez. The story, or OJ, the story becomes the perpetrators as well, and not about the victims. There's also their aspect of some true crime documentaries and true crime,
but they're the catalyst for a bigger event. Kind of like, I mean, I'm not trying to compare it, but like Rosa Parks. The woman just wanted her, like, she became a cornerstone of a whole entire rights movement. When really the woman was just tired, but she needed to be a forefront for that, even though it was a very small thing for her. And now her name is everywhere, but she needed to be that cornerstone.
But here's the thing, when it comes to these true crime, where they're, you and Stacey were obsessed with Chris Watts.
Yeah.
And so the obsession became about
family annihilators,
the perpetrators. And we talked about family annihilators on the show.
That was my obsession.
Yeah.
My obsession was them telling this story. How can anybody actually be that way? What were the signs? What do people have to say about him? What was he saying? Like, because truly, you're right. I guess the victims didn't have a chance to speak, obviously, because they're dead. Her parents and things, but I think they did speak on the documentary. But the people that they left behind are, probably being affected. But I guess it just depends on if they want their story to be told. Because, like, look at Britney Spears. She did not, like, when Netflix had come out with that documentary, she came out and said straight up, like, I did not appreciate that because they didn't get her permission. She was not involved in any way. I think, so I guess for me is if the family or the victims or things are involved in the storytelling, then it's okay.
Yeah.
If they're not, it's a little harder. It's a little, well, the ones we talked about, they were involved.
The Dahmer stuff? No.
Well,
the Ted Bundy?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Who's the victim? The murdered people?
But they have family members that survived too. They don't get their
I would want my family member's death to be talked like, yes.
Yeah, but
this person killed my family member.
But the thing is, when I'm looking at these series, we're not focusing on the victims. We're focusing
Of course we are.
No, we're not. I don't feel we are. We focus on the perpetrators.
I mean, I know when I watch all the Dahmer documentaries, I was looking up the stuff about the families that he killed. I know I was. I mean, obviously the story's about him.
Yeah.
It's not just a story about one victim. It's about all of his victims. The story's about him.
Yeah, the story's about him. I
so
think
yes, the focus is on the killer.
The focus is on the killer, and I think that's where, why should we be focused on the killer? It's just because we've said this before, when it comes to these like high,
because we want to study what made you snap. Why are you a sociopath? Why are you a psychopath? What are the triggers, so we can possibly avoid letting things get to that point again.
But yeah, I think in the end of the day, I think that's a part of the problem, is that we're making celebrities out of the villains.
They were already celebrities before the documentaries. Like Dahmer, he's been a celebrity.
Yeah, but we could have just kept it moving.
But again, if stories are not shared, things continue to happen. Don't you think knowledge is power? Like, if we had no idea that Dahmer was a serial killer stories were never put out there, so would we know about serial killers? I guess
my thing is that what did you learn from the Dahmer situation that would say, hey, we can use this as a way of prevention?
Don't go to people's house you don't know.
Okay, victim blaming.
That's not victim. Julian, should you go to a stranger's house that you don't know? Should you?
No.
Okay, is that a lesson that you can learn from that?
But I'm just saying,
was somebody else learning the
why
lesson?
is it? I guess what I'm saying when I say what's the lessons we learn, what are the lessons we learn? That is something about the victim changing,
like things like that. When I think there was a story on Dahmer where the guy was like on the ground and running away, that he had injected in the head, and people saw, but they weren't sure what was going on to it. And then because he was a white man, they weren't thinking anything of it. But when you see suspicious activity, report it.
Okay.
Maybe
I guess what I'm saying is that when you're talking about prevention while we're examining these, I think we're not examining, okay, what caused this person to do what they did and how do we prevent that or see the signs in other maybe sociopaths or psychopaths.
But they do,
to be able
because
to
they
prevent
go
it.
back to
And
their childhood and look about how they were raised. Isn't that the research that you're talking about?
But I don't think that's something that, as far as when it comes to the entertainment aspect of true crime, I think we just say, oh my gosh.
Well, okay. So in order for people to watch something, unless I'm some type of homicide detective, why would I be interested in?
Here's the thing. I guess when it comes to these true crimes and true seizure, I don't think we're watching these to ascertain as far as to get deeper understanding and insight. I think we're just watching it and seeing it as entertainment, watching, consuming, and then moving on to the next true crime.
So, okay. But at the end of the day, though, Julian, these things are going to continue to happen regardless if their show is made about it or not. So
Correct.
I think putting the story out there, entertainment wise or not, making it more entertaining so more people will consume it, can definitely help more so than not talking about it at all.
I'm not saying we can't talk about it,
or
I guess.
putting it out there at all, because again, maybe, this 26-year-old woman wouldn't go do research about serial killers in her neighborhood unless she watched that documentary. I don't know,
Okay.
I mean, sex offenders and things like that, like, people didn't think to look up that kind of stuff until they realized there are so many sex offenders out there. So I get it. I understand where you're trying to go with it. I just think that I don't think it's morally corrupt or anything. I don't think we're trying to use people's pain as entertainment.
And I don't think that's our intention, but I think in the end, yeah, we're consuming people's pain it's entertainment.
It's storytelling. It's true life storytelling. It's what happens in our country or in this world all the time, regardless. So turning a blind eye to it and being like, I never even knew that kind of stuff was, because I'm like, again, unless you're like some type of person that's into like the court systems and looking at, your county's criminal history, people don't usually do that.
True. And it also comes on the fact that only certain victims get told as well.
That's very true too. But that doesn't mean like, let's just turn it all off. Let's turn the pipe all the way off. I agree with that.
It's not. I guess
women of color don't get as much recognition for things like that, for murder, for sexual assault. Absolutely, they don't.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't.
I guess what I'm saying is that, like I said, I consume a lot of true crime. I love documentaries, but just in general.
What do you usually do when you consume it? Don't you go and look at stuff up and look at research and when did they catch him and so I think sometimes people do. I know, like I said, when I watched Chris Watts, the American Dream, I literally spent hours. Now, don't get me wrong, I had to like eventually be like, I have to stop. This is getting real disturbing. But my obsession was mostly about how could this have happened? What were the signs? Like, where was the reasoning? Like, help me understand.
Yeah.
That was my obsession.
So yeah, I guess for me personally, not saying I don't consume when it comes to, I think one of the one documentary was a true crime documentary that actually hit me deep in my soul. It crushed me. Is called Dear Zachary. I've told Jenny several times, watch it. I don't ever tell people what it's about. I'm just saying, just watch it. And I'm telling you, this documentary will absolutely rip your heart out. And that when it comes to all the true crime documentaries, that is the one documentary where it's just like, I was one and done. I'm just like, I can't.
I might have to watch that.
Absolutely. It's called Dear Zachary. Ripped my heart out. My friend I used to work with, she told me, and she did the same thing. She did not tell me anything about the documentary, like what it's about. I started watching. I'm like, oh my God, this is da 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 da. And I got to the end and I was just like, what the actual F just happened?
Yeah.
It absolutely ripped my heart out. And she did not. I came to the next day. I'm just like, I hate you. I cannot believe you told me to watch that. She goes, you made you cry. And she goes, yeah, it did.
Yeah, but again,
it's like, it was even a gut punch.
Even Aaron Hernandez. Mm-hmm. Not Aaron. That was the football player. Gabriel Hernandez. Even that, like, stories, like, it's heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. But we need to pay attention to little, like, kids when they come to school. Or do they have bruises on them? Like, things like that. Like, listen out for those neighbors. Is there something not normal going on?
I guess what I'm saying is that we have the conversation, but sometimes I feel like we don't take those lessons and fully apply it and then to be able to make change. Like I said, now some documentaries are great because, you know, I remember when Blackfish came out.
Oh, yeah, Blackfish is really good.
Everyone talked about it, and it made changes to that. SeaWorld is like, we're no longer breeding killer whales anymore.
But that could have been looked at as more of an entertainment value.
Yeah, but it does create change. We were talking about that one documentary, Super Size Me, completely changes McDonald's, and they no longer ask you, would you like to supersize that? And they, made conscious efforts to put healthier options on their menus.
I think true crime documentaries do the same.
So, and then to come to find out, side note, the Super Size Me, the whole reason why that guy had all those bad health results is because he was a function alcoholic, and it was alcohol, him constantly consuming alcohol, that caused him to get sick, and that's why he had the results he had. It wasn't necessarily due to his McDonald's diet. So I just thought,
How did they know that?
He admitted to it, became sober, and he admitted that.
No, I know that but how do they know that the simultaneous?
Because I guess whenever they did some liver tests, and one of the things the doctor says, like, I've never seen this in anyone other than an alcoholic. That there's no
particular thing. So
there's no way
I don't want to
you could take
away from the because I think consuming all McDonald's diet for 30 days is going to affect your health. Yes.
Yeah, and there's
maybe not your liver.
There's that, and also people try to recreate the results where they did consume McDonald's for some amount of time. They weren't able to recreate the results from the original documentary. So he was actually debunked several years later, and he admitted that he was wrong. And so unfortunately he did pass away recently from, I believe, some kind of cancer or something. I don't know, but he did pass away recently.
I wanted to because going back to some of the documentaries, like I know, like you said, there's Zachary. There was a documentary, Roll Red Roll, and then another documentary, Audrey and Daisy, and it's about like sexual assault and like teens and things of that nature. So those really affect me badly. Hard to watch, but I think those kind of things are important to put out there.
Yeah,
for entertainment consumption.
What I'm saying is that how do we balance entertainment versus people being allowed to, have their stories being told, and also being cautionary, maybe as a way, because I think storytelling is a way for us to learn, and how do we balance all three, I guess is what I'm saying.
Because even in Roll Red Roll, like the whole point of the documentary is that the town covered it up. Right? And people need to know that towns do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know the balance. For right now, I don't see it as a problem. Could it be a problem? Maybe.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't think that's what we're using it for. I think it just makes us as people a lot more aware of what this world's capable of.
Yeah.
And it's capable of some really, really dark stuff. And it's important to be careful.
Yeah.
And to take precautions.
Yeah.
Not victim blaming, but saying, yes, think twice before going down that dark alley. Think twice about going somewhere with somebody you don't know. Think twice about, saying yes to that invitation. It's just, you got to be more like we all do, because ultimately those killers are not going to just disappear. Those like whatever is going on, the chemical imbalance, whatever it is. And I think that's what we're always trying to figure out. What is it that triggered this person? Like even Dahmer, like that's why they talk about in the documentary, like the beginning part of his life and how he would kill animals and how his father knew he did it, but he thought it was just a weird thing that his son was doing. And it could have been, but again, it's like, so now maybe look at your son or your daughter a little carefully, like, he did just kill that snake pretty easily. Are you okay, son? Like, ask questions. Yeah. I think it's more helpful than harmful.
I guess, yeah, because I feel like you said, I don't just do.
But we are obsessed as a country.
Yeah, I don't just, when it comes to documentaries, not just, I guess they're all true crime, but like as far as like actual killers, because my personal favorite are anything kind of financial crimes. I'm waiting for that Fyre Festival miniseries to come out.
Yeah, Fyre Festival is very interesting too, but that also made us kind of look and say, yeah, before you go and just pay something online, do a little research. Mm-hmm. If you've never heard of it, maybe not send your money towards it.
You know, I loved Inventing Anna. I loved The Dropout with Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes and all of that. I mean, that's my sweet spot. I love anything financial crimes. You know, I've always said my guilty pleasure is the show American Greed. So I do absolutely love that show, and I just anything financial crimes. So Bernie Madoff, all that stuff. I absolutely love those kind of stuff. So I guess we can all find.
And so there you go. So because they don't die, like the people who their finances were stolen, I mean, they're victims. Yeah. We're not focusing on them at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Not even hearing their names a lot of times.
True.
So,
no. So yeah, I guess for me, do I have a little bit of a guilty pleasure watching someone else's pain as a way for, sitting and watching someone else's pain?
And then saying it like that, okay.
Yeah. Do I feel bad? Yes. But I think, like Janice said,
you're not the reason, no.
That's correct. I'm not the reason. But I also think the reason, why a lot of people are obsessed is they want to use it as an insight, especially for women. We use it as insight to be able to insulate and protect ourselves. Mm-hmm. What happened? What went wrong here? How can I learn from this to be able to change my behavior and not end up in the same situation? Yeah. I think that's what a lot of women.
Because sadly, that's what we have to do as women. As much as we shouldn't have to, we should have to. Mm-hmm. I mean, no, we do have to. Kind of like, wearing a short skirt. I should be able to wear a short skirt wherever I want to. I should. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in.
Yeah. But also I feel like it doesn't matter what you wear because...
It doesn't. Mm-mm. It doesn't. But again, I do want to try to do everything I can to avoid bad situations. But... again, I have to be comfortable like wearing the short skirt. I think about more things like, who am I going to be around? Is it going to be late? Am I going to be with other people? Mm-hmm. What type of people am I going to be with? I think you think about those type of things, as much as you should, again, be able to wear whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in.
Right.
You should be able to go upstairs with that boy, make out with him and say stop, and he stopped. Not always the case, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I guess when it comes to like I said, there's been a lot documentaries, miniseries, podcasts that have used these stories and repeated them.
Yeah, podcasts are popular now too.
Very popular, true crime podcasts, and not saying they don't have their place, because there's a lot of unsolved true crime podcasts as well that has brought attention to some cold cases that have. With that added attention will help eventually solve those crimes. So there's that as well. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's all bad or it's all good. I think it's a mixed bag.
You posed the question, is this something we should be doing? Is this ethical? Mm-hmm. And I think it is ethical. I think it's, sadly, it is ethical in the sense that it's not going to change anything. Right. Nothing changes. Mm-hmm. And I think, we can maybe do a better job of talking about the victim and what they went through, and maybe I think they do a pretty good job of putting out there like if you need help, this is a hotline. Like they do those kind of things when you watch documentaries. But
I think not saying that some of these true crime stuff hasn't been done in poor taste, but I think I think Ava DuVernay did a great job when it came to working with the Exonerated Five and showing their side of the story and paying respect to that. I think she did a great job in doing that. So you really do have to take the time to
even
consider
even
those
surviving R.
involved.
Kelly. Like they did a really great job of highlighting the victim's trauma.
Yeah. I think absolutely because they allowed them to say things in their own words.
So I think they handled it very
well done.
Yeah, very respectfully.
When are we gonna get a surviving P. Diddy? When do you think?
Shoot, I don't. I think it's so crazy because I do think Diddy's case is so much more. I think there's way more to it than R. Kelly.
Yeah,
I just think he had
he's up on the same charges too.
I think Diddy had a wider reach.
Yeah, because sex trafficking that's what they got R. Kelly on too.
Right, but I just think P. Diddy's whole operation was just much bigger, much larger scale. Yeah, I think for sure R. Kelly was a high level. I mean, not high level. A big ring, and he definitely he impacted a lot of people. But Diddy's was. I think it's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be bad. Yeah,
it's gonna be bad.
So yeah, like I said, enjoy your true crime. Like I said, I
eat it up. We do too.
I do. Like I said, I
already know there's so much sickness in the world. I'm more like,
yeah.
I watch them here and there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, when I like I said, I absolutely love documentaries. I'll do everything from, Lions of the Sierra and seeing them follow around a lioness as she has her cubs and hunting. And then
Animal Planet.
I'll do all of that. I'll do the financial.
I watched the Meerkat one. It was so cute.
Oh, really?
It was cute.
You've ever seen? So there's a couple where they're narrated by Snoop Dogg.
No, but I think I would love that.
So those are fun. Like I said, I do love there's so much you can learn.
There is,
from these documentaries because I think
making it entertaining makes it easier to consume.
And I think hearing people's stories from all these different backgrounds, I mean, I think it's always helpful. And so I do consume it. I'm not saying I'm not a consumer. I just say I also want to be ethical in
you kind of just
what I consume
take a step back and examine it, I think. And you're just like, should I be doing this? Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. Ultimately, I think the question you posed is a good question to ask yourself.
Consider. And I think it should be something that we ask ourselves depending on what medium we consume and who is putting out the story. That has to be put in consideration as well. So I think, we just have to be cognizant of who we choose to get these stories from.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like even the Britney Spears and her saying like straight up, this is an entire documentary about her. And she said she did not have any part of it.
Right.
So yeah. That's important, paying attention to the outlet, how it got out there, our victims speaking on it, our family members speaking on it. Has anybody bought into the telling of this story that's been a part of this story?
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that. So, but yeah, for me, documentaries, I'll watch them. I will probably continue to watch them. And some of them really, really drag me in, honey. Like Blackfish did too. I was obsessed after Blackfish.
It did create some change, so it's
worth it.
Sometimes it is worth it. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, Mike will feel better and be able to
that's what I was saying
to record with us. So.
I was actually gonna say real quick because him having flu, like nowadays, like and people at my job be having COVID and they're just like, oh, I just can't be. I feel like COVID is like a trigger word now. It's not even like a full blown. I don't know.
Yeah.
People are still using it like it was when it was a pandemic.
Yeah. Am I surprised that he's
Michael,
sick?
But yeah, no,
I'm not.
Flu is horrible.
Yeah. I'm not.
I was sick last week. I just never tested for anything. I'm sure I was contagious.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, he has unfortunately had a really hectic work schedule and has been very stressful for him. Which, when it comes, stress does lower our
immune system.
So it makes it harder to fight off anything that may come along.
Well, rest.
And he hasn't had, because of the hours he's working, hasn't gotten a lot of rest to be able to re-energize. So we're hoping him a fast and speedy.
We miss you, Michael.
A speedy recovery. So hopefully he'll be here next week, and we'll talk to you guys later.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.